This is the story of Agrопроsperіс, the brand name that combines all NCH agribusiness investments in Ukraine. It is a story about resilience, solidarity, and the alignment of interests between Agrопроsperіs employees and NCH investors. 2021 was the best year ever for Agrопроsperіs. But then, on the 24th of February, we were woken up by Russian missiles. Our priorities shifted towards protecting our people, managing liquidity, and stabilizing the business. It is not the strongest or most intelligent that survives. It is the one most adaptable to change.
In the first 2 days of the invasion, 30% of our land bank was occupied by Russian forces. 12 farms, 3 elevators, 575 employees. In 1 month, 5 offices were ruined, equipment heavily damaged or stolen. 1 employee was taken hostage.
My 2 Agrопроsperіс farms were heavily shelled. Offices and equipment were heavily damaged and some tractors were stolen.
Russians occupied our farm. They dug 20 trenches. Our fields we shelled.
Russian tanks were passing by daily. They burned down our fertilizer storage, heavily damaged office and equipment.
We not only lost access to some of our assets, Ukraine's Black Sea ports were instantly blocked, and we lost 90% of our future revenues overnight. As before invasion, we exported most of our crops through these ports, and we would have run out of cash in May if we hadn't developed the alternative routes.
Before war, Agrопроsperіс exported on average 300,000 tons of crops per month. When war started, we had 4 ships in the Black Sea ports loaded with 100,000 tons of grains and 300 tons in storage in inland silo. Overnight, all those exports went on hold. We quickly had to develop alternative export capabilities to cover our liquidity needs. We ramped up monthly export from 0 to 80,000 tons within 4 months. Now our goal is to reduce logistic costs, which have grown 8 times. Therefore, we have invested $10 million in trucks and transshipment points. We plan to invest $5 million into barges. In August, we loaded our first Constanza vessel, and now we are exporting wheat to African and Asian countries through the Black Sea corridor.
I oversee elevators and outbound logistics. I focus my team's efforts to proactively build export capabilities through the Danube River and the western border. 2 examples. We developed transshipment points to ship crops from railway to tracks and further delivery to the Danube River ports. We developed transshipment points at the Pakovo terminal at the border to Hungary.
On the 7th of April, Ukrainian army liberated northern Ukraine from Russian occupation. By the next day, our northern farms initiated repairing of offices and equipment, demining the fields. Our western farms helped with people and equipment to fulfill planned sowing campaign.
We quickly repaired equipment and constructed a temporary office to be ready to sow in 2 weeks.
We extracted 18 trucks of rockets from our fields.
We bought plexiglass and repaired all damaged equipment windows.
In 2 weeks, we demined 20,000 hectares with the help of Ukrainian soldiers.
Now, our teams work on the fields, notwithstanding continuous shellings.
250 of our employees were drafted by the army. We bought them helmets and bulletproof vests. The military requisitions 140 trucks and cars from our farms. Our teams helped Ukrainian army with food, fuel and water, and fleeing Ukrainian families with food and housing.
Our western farms transferred 10 pieces of equipment with people to our northern farm to help them sowing spring crops in the optimal period. Our farms supported each other with equipment, spare parts and inputs.
Despite the war, we opened 2 new offices. To react in spirit and support the northern farms, we organized Agro Marathon.
We formed the Agrопроsperіс Charity Fund, which is helping damaged territories to restore health centers, rent temporary housing. As of September 2022, our charity fund provided direct help for $275,000 to 760 fellow Ukrainians who suffered from war. 85% of people whom we supported are landowners and their family members. They all live in villages where our farms operate. Of them, 52% are people aged 50 plus years.
Back in 2017, we introduced a co-investment program for our key farm employees. They can invest their own money into working capital of their farms. The return on their investment depends on the profit of Agro-Prosperis. This year, we propose that our employees invest not for 1 year as in the past, but for 3 years until 2025. The response was overwhelming.
Our employees invested more than $2 million into the new 3-year partnership program. Our franchise farms are going to invest $15 million into 3 years. This means that approximately 10% of our working capital is the money invested by our employees. Team spirit is high. All employees are actively contributing to Agro-Prosperis and Ukraine's victory.
I decided to invest because I believe in my team, Agro-Prosperis and Armed Forces of Ukraine.
I committed for the 3-year program because I believe in victory of Ukraine and trust in success of Agro-Prosperis and my team. Ukraine was, is and will be the world's breadbasket.
I invested for 3 years. My task is to help our farms to switch crop rotation to higher profitability and reduce volume.
In total, I invested into both annual and 3 years program. I'm convinced that our well-designed program motivates Agro-Prosperis team to perform better than their best and to stay focused on the returns.
A stable and profitable Agro-Prosperis is our contribution to Ukraine's victory. We believe in a free, sovereign Ukraine. We believe in Agro-Prosperis. Thank you for your support. Stand by Ukraine.